Welcome everyone to the Geese Online iMBA webinar. We are very excited to have you here today. My name is Kate Deering. I am an admissions coordinator within Geese Online programs in the recruitment and admissions space. I've been here for a few years now, and it's always exciting to present the information tonight to students or prospective students who haven't had a lot of experience with our programs. So we are glad that you are here. We are going to give everyone a second to join us. While we're doing that, tell us where you're from. We are going to have some polls throughout this evening, and we are curious, where are you joining from? I am in Champaign-Urbana, where the University of Illinois is, and I think our guests, so Allison is in Chicago, and Janine, you're in Chicago as well, right? So we are not too broad here as hosts, but we typically have students from all over the world that join our webinars. So it looks like Asia and Africa and the United States are the big winners today. So welcome everyone. And that poll. You may have noticed this QR code on your screen. That, feel free to scan that right now with your camera on your phone, and a small form will pop up. And if you're interested in having myself or an admission counselor reach out to you, we'd be happy to do that sooner than later. So just go ahead and scan that code if you'd like more information. So a couple housekeeping items tonight. We are going to talk a lot about the program. If you have questions, if you don't mind putting them in the Q&A feature, it kind of streamlines all the questions. Everybody can see them. It's a little bit easier to answer them there. And then let's kind of reserve the chat for more of a fun engagement and, kind of comments there. So that would be helpful. Allison Hodina is my colleague. She's a coordinator within Geese Online as well. She is going to be handling the Q&A and that chat feature. So feel free to add as many questions as you want there. And then also we have a special guest, Janine, who's going to introduce herself in a moment. If you have questions for Janine, she is one of our student ambassadors within the iMBA program. So she's a current student. So if you want the truth and you want to ask honest questions of Janine, she'd be happy to answer those as well throughout the presentation and at the end when we have time for the Q&A. Let me give you just a brief overview real quick of the agenda. We are going to go through the Geese Business Online model, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about that. We'll have a program overview of the iMBA program. We'll talk about curriculum and content, application tips and tricks, and also we'll hopefully have time for the Q&A at the end. But before we get started, let's hear what your biggest hesitancy in pursuing graduate education has been up till now. Why have you not taken that leap to fill out that application and apply? There's a couple options here. Are you nervous about the online format? Does it seem like it's going to be too expensive? Not sure of the return on investment? We are going to talk about all of these things. So we did want to just see where you are coming from. While you are finishing filling that out, we've got a lot of participation, which is great. I do want to introduce our special guest, Janine. And Janine, do you mind just telling us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your background, and maybe why you chose the iMBA?
Yeah, thanks, Kate. And hi, everyone. It's great to be with you here tonight. Like Kate said, I am in the iMBA. I am 3 classes away from graduating, so I am very excited. Actually, I'll be a little sad to be done, but also excited to reach that end goal. I started in January of 2021 and came into this with a background in higher education and career and college counseling. I currently work as a vice president for enrollment at a college in the suburbs of Chicago, and really was looking for kind of a way to polish up some of my skills, become a better leader. I had moved up kind of quickly into my role and wanted to have a really solid business background, but not just have to focus only on just the normal nuts and bolts of business, but a program that could help me think about strategy and innovation, and really found that in this program, along with the ability to be flexible and work with my work schedule. So it's been wonderful, and I'm excited to share more with you all tonight about it.
Cool. Thanks, Janine. I love that your background too is maybe not the typical MBA background. So it's just a great example of the many different types of students that we have in our program. So welcome. Okay, well, let's get started and dive in a little bit to just an overview of what Geese Business Online is all about. It's made up of three main qualities. And the first one is flexibility. And by that, I mean that this program is extremely flexible. All of our degree programs are. There's no travel requirements. It's completely online, including all of your coursework and group work. It's really paced to fit your needs in 8-week terms where you can take one course or you can take 2 courses at a time. Whatever you decide, it's totally up to you. It's also flexible in how we do our tuition billing in a pay-as-you-go model. So you're only paying for the course that you're registered in. So just another flexible option at Geese. Actually, it's funny, Dean Brown recently spoke with a QS.com about the affordability and the flexibility of Geese Online and the MBA degree. And he liked it that we're offering a Tesla for the price of a Kia. So just a great little kind of tidbit there, speaking to that affordability and the flexibility of the program. Okay, the next kind of feature of Geese Online is the stackability. Our credentials and online programs stack and work together. So you can take a single course for upskilling, or you can stack that course into a certificate for credentialing. And then you can apply that certificate towards a master's degree. So there's so many options, and it's a real unique stackability that allows you the option to test drive a course and try it out if you're not quite ready to dive in. And then maybe you really enjoy the experience, and then you can decide that you're ready for the full degree. So a lot of options there. And then lastly, it's online by design. And by that, we mean that this program was not adapted to be in this format. It was designed specifically back in 2016 to be delivered to thousands of learners worldwide. The model was kind of created to offer highly engaging content that you can access anywhere, anytime, without giving up any of your career or family commitments. So it was designed that way. It was also intentionally designed to have a lot of interactions with your faculty members and your fellow students, and include a lot of collaboration during your degree. And we're going to talk about that here in a little bit. When we talk about the stackable build of Geese Online, I just wanted to share this slide just to give you an idea of what a potential Geese learner journey could look like. Now, you don't have to do every step, and you don't have to take them in order. So a lot of options. You could start with a free online course on Coursera. These are called MOOCs, or Massive Online Open Courses. They kind of make up the foundational material in our courses. And you could then take one of those MOOCs and take an Illinois 4-credit course. So 2 of those MOOCs are built into our Illinois courses. If you take one course, you will have specific knowledge in that area. If you want to combine 3 courses into a campus graduate certificate that we just newly approved and offer now in strategic learning and management, accounting analytics, and digital marketing. So we have 3 that we offer currently. We have some more coming, but these are all just really great in that you will have specific knowledge and earn a credential in that specific topic. These are stackable into all of our master's degree programs. So you will earn 12 credit hours in a graduate certificate that is directly stackable into one of our master's degrees. So just a great option. And then more recently, we just announced the ability to stack an IMSM master's degree into the MBA as well. So that's a first time ever for the University of Illinois, and we're very excited about that option as well. All of these possibilities are included in the Geese learner journey. And it really just, you have a lot of options to expand your learning and really only take on what you can handle at that time. This slide is a great visual of the many different ways that you can stack your journey. And you don't have to take these courses in specific order, and you're always going to have options to expand your learning. Okay, so let's get to the Master of Business Administration, the iMBA, why everyone is here today. This program comes in at just over $23K for the tuition. That's going to be the total cost, including all tuition and fees. As I said before, we do have a pay-as-you-go model, so you're only paying as you go for each course that you're registered in. So there's a little bit of nice financial planning in there for you. The iMBA can be completed in as little as 24 months and as long as 36 months. And so, however, you actually can take up to 5 years. Most people will not take that long, but we do have a lot of flexibility there. You can take either one course or 2 courses, each 8-week term, and that's going to dictate how long you or how long it'll take you to complete the program. What have you done, Janine, so far? Have you mostly been on 1 or 2 courses at a time?
I actually started my first term with taking just 1 class because I had to figure out how to be a student again. And then all my other terms up until now, except for 1, was 2 at a time. And then I'm doing some of the more challenging courses at the end, 1 at a time. So I've done a mix, but mainly 2 at a time.
Okay, that's nice. I know we do recommend your first course that you just start with 1, give yourself some grace and be able to navigate all the platforms and just figure it out, because like you said, most students haven't been in school for a while. So we also have 4 start dates for the iMBA program. So August, October, January, and March. And then we also do have a summer term. We just don't have any programs or cohorts starting at that time. So you can take courses 5 different terms throughout the year. This slide just talks a little bit about the makeup of our program. We have students that on average have 11 years of work experience and are around 37 years old. So a pretty mature population in the MBA program. We finally have all 50 states represented in the program and 92 countries. So very exciting. And we're going to talk a lot about the global nature of the program here in a little bit. And then lastly, 70 of the Fortune 100 companies are represented in the iMBA program. Along those lines, we have some great return on investment numbers that we like to share. And I noticed in the original poll, a lot of people were concerned about the return on investment. These are excellent numbers, and this is not even talking about just the immediate impact that you'll often see. Like, you'll have class on Monday and you will be able to use something that you've learned in your career and maybe a meeting on Friday. We hear countless stories of that. So we do have a 98% satisfaction with the overall program quality. And this last statistic has significantly gone up. It was 54%, and now it's 61% of our students receive a promotion, a job offer, or accept a new position during the iMBA program. So while they're in the program, and our students experience an average increase of 22% in their salary. So I know, Janine, you earned a promotion during the program, right, last year? Or was it this year?
Yep, it was last year. So yeah, it enabled me to actually get a job offer at another place that I was able to leverage for a promotion where I am with a pretty substantial pay increase too.
That's awesome. Any other notes on return on investment, even from just the live classes?
Oh yeah. Besides the pay increase, I mean, I especially some of the leadership courses, there were times where I was like, oh my goodness, I have to have a meeting tomorrow about this. And in my homework tonight, we're talking about how to foster creativity in a team. And I'm able to tomorrow develop a process for the team that's going to be most helpful. So yeah, that happened a lot. I actually would create a whole section of my notes for work applications for things that would pop up so I could quickly go back to them and remember those things along the way.
Okay, cool. We're going to talk a lot about return on investment and a little bit about networking and so on. So we're going to keep moving. So thank you for sharing that. The curriculum and the content is pretty straightforward. You are going to complete 72 credit hours and 3 capstone projects. The core specializations on this left box, that's going to be your core classes. Each of those includes 3 courses. So That's going to total 12 courses. And so those are going to be your core classes, as I said: strategic leadership, managerial economics, value chain management, and financial management. And then you get to choose 2 focus areas. So 2 specializations that will have 3 courses in each of those. And the options are here in this right-hand box. You have a lot of options. You really get to cater your MBA to a focus area that's going to help you excel at your current position, or maybe where you're moving to. You will also be required to complete 2 capstone projects, and these are done on 2 of the 6 specializations that you complete in total. And then these take place in between terms, and so they typically are 1 to 2 weeks. Have you finished a capstone yet, Janine? Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, I've done 2 of them actually.
Okay.
So I've completed both of those. Yeah, they were 2 weeks. They're high pace, like fast and intense and high pace, but you get to work with a team and essentially bring together those 3 classes that you had in the specialization, bring all the concepts together, usually on a problem. So whether that's working for like a problem for a particular business, I think that's what both of mine did actually. And so you're able to collaborate with people and then think holistically, how does this all weave together if I were approaching this particular business, maybe as a consultant, which is what we did in one of them.
Okay. Then in addition to those 2 capstone projects, everyone has a program capstone where you'll complete a 1-month project right before you graduate. And this will be where you work with a professor. You will design your topic that you're looking into. It's going to bring together everything that you've learned in the program, and then you'll finally present that to your peers. So that's how you'll end your time in the MBA. Nope, let me go back here a little bit. So I wanted to explain a little bit about like what makes up our course curriculum and our course content. And there's 2 main components. The first component is on Coursera, and Coursera is a very large educational platform. You've probably heard of it. This is going to provide the foundational material in your courses. So we talk about it kind of like the textbook in your course. It is made up of pre-recorded videos that our faculty members or your professors will create. And there will also be quizzes, some assignments, and some peer evaluations. This is going to be a completion grade, so it is required for every course. And I did want to mention that these courses are called MOOCs. It's kind of a funny word, but they're called MOOCs, or Massive Online Open Courses. And typically there's going to be 2 of these included in every Illinois course. If you've taken one of these in the past and earned your certificate, we will migrate that progress over and you will get credit for that in the course. You, of course, are going to need to complete the rest of the course, the high engagement component, in order to earn your credit, but we will take that credit and move it over for you. The other portion of the course, or important part, is the high engagement component. This is going to build on those 2 MOOCs that you take throughout the course as well. It's going to give you a little bit more of kind of the group projects and the real world projects that you can kind of work through to build upon all of that foundational material and have some real world scenarios that you have to work through. There's going to be 1 live lecture each week. So an 8-week term, you'll have 8 live lectures. These are typically around 90 minutes. You will also have small group breakout sessions within these live classes, and they are offered at several different times during the day. So we do like to accommodate all of our global time zones. So you'll have 2 or 3 times to be able to attend the live class in person. And then we do offer the recording as well. Now, in addition to the live classes, we also have group projects, as Janine kind of talked a little bit about. These are typically made up of 4 to 5 students. The professor will have varying amounts of these in their classes. And lastly, your faculty will be available for office hours. I think this is a really important part of the accessibility to the faculty and your learning. Janine, do you often go to office hours? And if you do, can you talk a little bit about how those are beneficial?
Yeah, that has been probably one of my favorite parts of the program. I really wanted to feel like I could actually connect and not just be receiving an education, but actually be engaging with the education. And there have been particular classes where I've frequented office hours because just needed some additional help. And was able to like work directly with the professor to ask questions, to get clarification, to dive deeper into certain concepts. And that has been one of the fun surprises, is that like actual face to face on Zoom connection I've been able to make with faculty that way.
And some of the professors will call on you, right, during live classes. So
Yeah, I like really have felt truly in the with the class experience, like I am in a real class. Like I'm not just receiving content on Zoom. We're engaging. There's conversations that are happening in breakouts in the chat. The professors are responding. It really like it. That has been a fun surprise too. It's felt like a real class just taking place on Zoom.
that's great. So just to recap, the Coursera component and the high engagement component, these are going to work together. And once you complete both of those in that 8-week term, then you've earned your 4 credit hours of transcript credit in an iMBA course. So the next kind of section that I do want to pivot a little bit from those kind of specific program details to talking a little bit more about the network that you will gain within Geese Online. This slide also speaks to the mission of Geese to make education accessible to all, being a land grant institution. So we've really taken that to heart within Geese, not only in our price, but also in the global nature of our program. I guarantee you will meet students from all over the world in in all of our degree and non-degree courses, learning from our diverse global network. So we currently have 3.1 million MOOC learners within Geese Online and 11.3 thousand degree learners. Included in that are underrepresented minorities. We have lots and lots of women working towards or have already earned their degree. And what I think is a pretty fabulous high number, 145 countries are represented in our programs in all 50 states. So what does this say? This really reflects the diverse learning environment that you are going to have in every single live class in all of your group projects within our programs. And so you are going to have, the education and the work experience of your classmates that's going to be really different from what your upbringing or your professional experience is, and that enables very rich conversations in these live classes and collaboration that you're going to have in the iMBA program. So these numbers, I think, say a lot. We are going to have around 5,300 total learners coming into the program this fall, which is super exciting. Hopefully we'll have one more country that we haven't touched yet. I know I spoke with somebody in Morocco the other day. I think we have 2 learners in Morocco. So taking that a little bit further, we have a lot of professional work experience from all of those students. And one way that we can kind of explain that is, or one measure, I guess, is the number of Fortune 100 companies where our students work. And 70 of the Fortune 100 companies are represented in the iMBA program. And I believe more than 1,000 total employers are represented in our programs. We also do have a lot of non-traditional backgrounds represented as well. And we do have a lot of non-business backgrounds or non-accounting backgrounds that are very successful in our programs. And just as Janine's background's a little bit different too. She's been extremely successful and such a great ambassador of the program. Okay, so I did want to touch on something that comes up a lot. This question we get all the time. How do I connect in this virtual environment? And I think Janine said that was one of her kind of surprises as well. Well, we have a couple of opportunities. We have Geese-led opportunities, and we also have student-led opportunities. And so I want to just touch on these briefly so that you can see how many different ways that you're able to connect with your other students, to faculty, to the leadership team. A couple of the opportunities that we lead as Geese staff and faculty are iConnects. These are held across the United States. They are designed for you to just help you expand your network. We usually feature a keynote speaker at these, and you'll be able to meet with current students as well as faculty members, maybe somebody from the leadership team. And so those are really great opportunities. We also have immersions, and these immersions are domestic or international opportunities to work on a project with a group among different stakeholders in a different community. So this is an excellent opportunity in the iMBA program. I have another slide that's going to explain this a little bit further. These can be in person or virtual, and they do have an extra cost involved with them, but they're just excellent opportunities to kind of take your learning to the next level in a real world, kind of be embedded in a company situation where you can learn from your peers. And then lastly, iConverge is our kickoff event every year in the fall, where we invite all of our online students to campus for professional development, for some networking, and a lot of fun. So outside of the Geese-led opportunities, the students do a lot themselves to create these networking opportunities. And upon admission, you'll be given access to Workplace, which is a Facebook group just for our online students. This is where students will share helpful tips on classes, degree planning, notes, peer review questions. They share job searches, you name it. And a lot of times they just post for fun. So Janine, how do you like to use Workplace?
Yeah, I use it to both gather information and to receive information. So there's a usually workplace group for every class that you're in. So there'll be some study groups that will form out of that. People just kind of create their own, and that has been incredibly helpful as a way to get to know people through those study groups that kind of organically come up, and to just get some additional help in classes. I have used it before, like I was considering a move across the country and kind of reached out with, hey, I'm trying to figure out some cost of living pieces for this other part of the country. And a lot of people jumped in to help me think about resources. So everything from particular classes to just like general career professional advice.
Okay. And it's kind of up to you how much you use it, right? So you can get as deep into it as you want. Couple other student-led opportunities, meetups. So our students are really great about organizing meetups. Typically they start on Workplace, but they'll reach out to students that are living within, like, I don't know, 25, 50 miles within their, in that radius, and they'll meet at a coffee shop or a local restaurant to connect in person. So those happen quite frequently. And then lastly, just in your group work, in your group projects, I would say there's a lot of networking opportunities. You're going to be meeting with them throughout your weeks. You're going to spend a lot of time collaborating and connecting. And so that's just another great way to get to know the students that are in your courses and in the program with you. There is a group preference form. I just wanted to note before every course. So we do try to accommodate your time zone, when you like to do your work, things like that. And we also really pride ourselves on trying to make diverse learning environments or diverse groups as well. So a couple of slides just to show what some of those things were, some of the Geese-led opportunities. So this was a picture from our Seattle immersion. And as you can see, they had so many different kind of work experiences within this trip where they explored business in action. So they worked on a project within different stakeholders in the Seattle community, and had a lot of practical application of what they've learned in a group project setting. So there is an extra cost involved with these, but if you are in the iMBA program, you can use one of these immersion trips as a capstone project for yourself. So that's an extra perk. We've done these domestic, we've done them globally, and we've done them virtually. During COVID, we kind of pivoted to do virtually, but I've heard excellent feedback on the virtual immersions as well. Janine, I know you were looking into doing one of these. Did you get a chance to do one yet? Or are you going to sign up in the future?
I haven't yet.
Okay.
I have my eyes on when we do the international ones in person again and for the future.
Yep. I think we have one scheduled for August next year, should be an international in-person one. So they haven't announced where it is yet, but that's great. I know you were interested in doing that. Okay, let's move on to, I just wanted to show you all a few pictures of iConverge, if I can get my screen to advance here. iConverge, we hosted back in September, and we had 500, just over 500 students come to campus. We kind of use this as our yearly kickoff event in the fall. But as you can see, we had 38 states and 17 countries represented. We had a huge group from Singapore, which was really fun. And then tons of faculty members attend these. So you can mingle with them. There's professional development. We brought in some really excellent speakers. Larry Geese came and talked to us, and he's always really inspiring. Just a great way to network and have a lot of fun. We have a tailgate, you can go to a football game, things like that. So, and then lastly, workplace. Janine mentioned how she likes to use it. A lot of people just post like this middle picture. Lindsay completed one of her live classes with her child on her lap. So, working moms are definitely in our program. People post a lot of their graduation pictures. This picture on the left was 2 iMBA students that oddly met in Germany. Like neither of them were from there, and their companies came together. It was just kind of a unique connection. So all kinds of things happen on workplace. It's a key networking part of the program. And then lastly, student meetups. I just wanted to show you a couple. The students organized one at the Cubs game. The bottom right-hand picture is from Columbia. I think the top one was in Dallas. So these happen all over globally and domestically. And just a great chance to connect outside of your classwork and be able to share ideas and meet local students and create that hometown group. Have you done any student meetups like that, Janine?
Yeah, especially around Chicago, there are a lot that happen organically throughout the year. So there's a lot of opportunities.
Okay. So certain areas, like I know that like Southern California, there's certain areas that have them much more frequently. So, okay. So a couple other things I wanted to note about being an iMBA student. Once you're a current student, you'll have the full support of our student and academic success team. And what this is our team of advisors. They are experts in helping you create your degree plan. Which courses should I pair? Should I pair a quantitative and a qualitative, or an easier one and a harder one? They have office hours, express advising. You can make one-on-one appointments. They are very accessible, and they are here for you to help you with any issues that you're having in your classes or anything, as a current student. Have you used them much, Janine, or can you explain, I guess, how you've connected with the advisors?
Yeah, I've used the, can't remember actually if it was express advising or one-on-one appointments. I was in one of them where I got to probably one-on-one because I met directly with someone when I was first creating my degree plan. I like to plan way ahead of time. And so trying to think about what my work schedule will be a year from now. And they were really helpful in helping me figure out which classes pair together well and which order might be best to take classes in. You can really take them in any order, but they helped me think through some of the best pairings, which was really helpful.
Okay. I think there's only a couple specializations that you actually have to take like in a specific order, right? So that's great. I know they're very good at helping you like pair up a more labor intensive course with a little bit of a less one if you want to take 2 courses at a time. So okay, so let's get to the application requirements. Before I hit on these, what's making you nervous about the application? I told you I was going to have some polls today. So fill out this poll and tell me which part of the application is your biggest hurdle. Which part are you most nervous about? We're going to talk about all of the parts and all of the requirements. And so I just want to make sure that we address all of your questions. And it looks like a little bit of everything except the resume and accessing the application portal. I'm glad you are all confident in that. So as you're finishing filling that out, let's start with just a couple of the basics. You're going to need a resume. This does not need to be a super complicated, in-depth resume. Let's just put your work experience and your education on there. It doesn't have to be, super detailed. We do require an academic history. And by that, that means that we require a bachelor's degree and a minimum GPA of 3.0. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about a pathway that can help you if you don't quite meet that 3.0. But we do need unofficial transcripts from your bachelor's degree. And by that, we just need a scan or a copy uploaded to your application. It's really straightforward. Just make sure your degree was conferred on those transcripts. If you are an international student and went to an international university, then we will need the mark sheets from each semester, as well as your certificate of degree. And then if it wasn't delivered in English, we will need official English translations. Reach out to us if you have questions about that. The next thing that's required for the application is the personal statement. And the prompt is in the application, or within the application. We're going to ask you a little bit about what your personal background is and what experiences have influenced your decision to pursue this degree, and why you feel like you're a great fit for our program. We want to get to know a little bit about you, and hopefully you'll stand out. We read a lot of applications, so if you can make it unique and personal, that would be great. If you have any questions about the essay, don't hesitate to ask. 2 letters of recommendation. So we do require at least one supervisor or manager for one of those, and all you need is the name and email of your recommender. You really don't have to ask them to write a letter. Once you enter those into your application, we will email them a form to fill out that has I don't know, it's about 8 or so questions where they rank you strongly agree to strongly disagree on specific kind of work habits and things like that. And then there's a few kind of open-ended questions that they can answer as well. So not a huge lift for them. So don't let that portion stress you out. For international students, we do require an English proficiency test. We do have some options there as far as a waiver. And if you have any questions on that, please don't hesitate to ask. We don't require the GRE or the GMAT, and those tests are not great indicators of how you are going to do in our program and how successful you will be. So we don't require those any longer. And if you've taken it, great, and you want to submit your score, we'll just use it as another data point. That's fine, but we do not require the GRE or the GMAT. And then lastly, we always have lots of questions about scholarships. And for the iMBA program, we do have 2 options. We have one scholarship in partnership with Coursera, and you will apply for that scholarship within the program application. So there's going to be an essay required, and that scholarship will reimburse 70% of the tuition if awarded. So a great opportunity. It's very competitive, I will say, and it's need and diversity based, and we're really focusing on making our programs more accessible while we're also impacting the global community of our students. So the prompt is, why are you applying for the scholarship, and how do you feel like the scholarship will help you achieve your goals in higher education? And then it'll ask you to explain a little bit further. The other scholarship is the Forte Scholarship, and this is awarded to one female every term. Forte Fellows exhibit leadership. They demonstrate a commitment to advancing women in business, and both of those things align with Forte's mission. That scholarship will reimburse $20,000 of the tuition. So, and that's for one female each term. So 2 great scholarships. I told you I was going to mention one other pathway into the iMBA program, and that's the performance-based admissions track. This is for students who maybe don't quite meet that 3.0 GPA requirement. Maybe your bachelor's degree was 10, 20 years ago, and you're kind of kicking yourself now that you didn't quite reach that 3.0. You can apply through the pathway. And what it is it's an opportunity for those students, and also for students who possibly want to just try out the academic rigor of the program. And what it is that you'll take 3 courses that are required courses in the program. You have to earn a B or better in at least 2 of the 3, and an overall GPA of 3.0, and then we'll automatically admit you. So just an excellent opportunity for some students that may not have, the admission kind of result that they would normally get just only applying to the degree program. Application review. And so once you submit your application, we'll take about a week to 2 weeks to do an initial review. And our admissions team will reach out with either a decision or a missing materials email. Say sometimes you're missing part of your transcripts, or maybe you're missing a letter of recommendation. We'll reach out. And then the third option is that we'll invite you to an interview. So everyone who's admitted into the program will complete a 20-minute Zoom interview. And this is going to be pretty laid back. It's nothing to be nervous about. In fact, I'll have Janine explain what her experience was, but it's just going to be with someone like myself or Allison, just trying to get to know you a little bit better and make sure that this is a good fit for both sides. Any other feedback on the Zoom interview, Janine?
Yeah, I would agree that it was pretty laid back. I was way more nervous than I needed to be, but essentially it was questions, at least in mine, around why I wanted to be in the program. So it was really just articulating what I had already thought through, why I had applied and what I thought I'd get out of it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I would definitely think about those things ahead of time. So, okay. So last, but not least, I wanted to tell you just about our next deadline. So November 3rd is our next deadline. That's our priority 2 deadline. So all of these benefits that you see on the screen, you can access that workplace platform that I was telling you about and begin networking. You can start working on the Coursera component of our courses ahead of time. If you're admitted now for like a January term, you can get a head start. And then also that scholarship. So if you're interested in the scholarships, you have to apply early. So this is the final deadline for the scholarship consideration on November 3rd. So one last poll before we get to all of our questions. I'm curious, after we just gave you a lot of information about the iMBA program, which of these options describes you best? What are your plans moving forward? Are you interested and not quite ready? Do you still have some questions? Tell us where you're at. I'm going to stop sharing my screen here so we can take a look at some of the questions. And please throw your questions for Janine in the chat, the Q&A as well. She is an excellent resource. I know, Allison, you had one question for Janine. Janine, can you talk a little bit about the average class sizes that you've had in some of your courses?
Yeah, in the live sessions, I don't actually know how many have been in my classes, but the live sessions typically it's been under 200. So usually like 140, 150, some have been a little bit larger. I think it depends on the class, but that has also allowed for it to feel like there's a lot of really good personal engagement with faculty.
Okay. I think, yeah, we typically say it can be anywhere from like 65 to 200, depending on, if it's a really popular, larger class. So, okay. So I have one other question for Janine here. How are students able to collaborate on group projects, working across different time zones and work schedules and personal obligations? How have you seen that kind of play out?
Yeah, I was actually nervous about that too when I knew that because there's group project in every class, and that has not been really an issue. I find that, our groups typically can have 5 or 6 people in them. They do a really good job at trying to put us together in groups that are people with a similar time zone. And then I just find people are really flexible. Like we've been able to navigate. There have been times where like someone's celebrating a kid's birthday and like, okay, well, we've got this. We can do the meeting without you this week and just kind of circle back on what we need from you. People are just really flexible in that. We're often able to either find a time that works for everyone, or we're just like understanding of different life circumstances and able to work with that.
Okay, that's good to hear. And then the group preference form, you fill that out before every course, is that right?
Yep. You can just fill it out once and say, like, this is the time zone I'm in, and here are the ideal days when I can. So I always say, like, I'm free in the evenings and weekends, and they try and match you with someone similar time zone or with a group that's similar time zone and similar availability. And then you can update that anytime you need to, or they'll just keep using that same availability for each class.
Okay. That's excellent. I know it's not perfect, but we do really try to make an effort to make those groups work well together. So I see a question. Could you explain what happens if you took a course through Coursera, and how would that credit transfer? Excuse me. And then it says, do we need to do additional work for the course to earn the credit? So the answer to that is, upon admission, we will, you'll link up your Coursera account to Canvas, which is the platform that we use to share all of the course information. And when those link up, we will see any progress that you've, like, say you took a Coursera course, a couple years ago, and you earned your certificate, but you didn't really know you were going to even go for this iMBA degree. It'll link up and it'll see all the certificates that you've earned. And so any certificates that are included in any of our courses will migrate over, and we will count that credit. Now, by credit, I mean kind of progress in the certificate. You still have that whole high engagement component that we talked about, the live classes, the course, the group work, your assignments, your tests, your essays, all of that you still have to do in order to earn your transcript, like Illinois credit. So hopefully that explains it a little bit better. Anything to add to that, Allison?
No, I think you got it all, Kate. Yeah, so if you complete that Coursera module, you will not have to repeat the Coursera work, but you will still have to register for the course through the university and take it for credit.
Okay. I see one question, Janine, for you, timing wise, like how much time does the group work take up, and what type of group work is there? How much are and then it says how much, how much time does the group work take up?
Yeah, I think it completely depends on the class. Most of my classes have had like 2 to 4 group projects that we've had to do. And some of those it's, got a couple weeks to work on it, or some you've got a week. And so that'll determine how lengthy it is as well. Some have been presentations where we have to put together a video or a PowerPoint that we have to present. Sometimes it's a project where we're just like kind of working through. We did analyze a business. And so kind of as a group over a couple of weeks, analyze that business from a particular standpoint. We've had others where we've worked through just like particular problems step by step. So it varies on the class, how much emphasis there is on individual work or group work, but every class does have at least one group project.
Okay. And so how long will you be in the program when you graduate, like approximately?
2 years and 1 semester.
2 years and 1 semester. Okay. There's a question on what the average student, how much time they take to graduate, and that's around 2.5 years. But if you take 2 courses every 8-week term, you will graduate right at that 2-year timeline. If you spread it out and you take 1 every 8-week term, then you're going to be just over that 3-year mark. So good question. Any other questions, Allison, that we haven't seen? I see, what is the degree? Do you earn an MBA, or do you earn an iMBA, or does it say online anywhere on your transcripts or your diploma? And the answer to that is no, it does not. You are earning a master's of business administration, and so it will not say online anywhere on any of those things. Really, that's just our delivery method. You are still going to be required to complete all of the course curriculum and everything that's all included in earning a business administration degree. Okay, any other questions?
We did have a question, Kate, about how difficult is it for a student to be admitted if their undergraduate GPA fell under 3.0?
Okay, so that is our minimum requirement. And as I said, we do look at applicants holistically. So we're going to look at every part of your application. We're going to look at your rich professional work experience. We're going to look at your resume. Your personal statement is really going to highlight you and what you can bring to the program. So there's a lot of other elements that we are going to take into consideration. And then we also have options. So we have that performance-based admissions track that might be a better route for you based on your GPA. We also can suggest the IMSM, and especially now that it has the stackability, and I should mention that we also require a minimum of 3 years of work experience in order to apply to the, not apply, but to be admitted into the MBA. So that is another factor. We don't have that work experience requirement for the MSM. So we may suggest the MSM as a better start for you, just so that you're successful and you can complete that and then take a year, couple years off, and then come back and attempt to apply and earn your MBA. So there's a lot of options there. We'll evaluate you for all of the pathways and all of the options, and we'll reach out to you and suggest what we think is best.
We've got another question in the Q&A here about our business analytics focus area. Janine, have you taken any of the courses in business analytics?
No, but I saw that question. I know people who've taken the business analytics with no business analytics background, and they really enjoyed it. They found like there was a good introduction for them.
And really, I think overall, for the most part, our courses are going to give you all the tools you need to be successful in each course. You don't need to have, a programming background or a strong technical focus to come into our courses and to have success.
For sure. Okay, it looks like we're kind of nearing the end of the questions coming in. Some really great questions. How many hours per course per week of study? Did we cover that? Did you? I can't remember. I know what I typically tell people. What do you think, Janine?
Yeah, I think anywhere from 7 to 15 is typically what plans
For one course.
for one class. Yep.
Okay. All right, that makes sense. Typically, we'll say for 2 courses, 20 to 30, but I think, again, it depends a lot on which courses you have paired together. Also, your background, like you might be much better at a particular subject, and that's going to make that course much easier for you. All right. Any last questions? Any for Janine? Just taking a look here. Any advice or last thoughts, Janine, as we close out?
I would say if this is something you've thought about doing for a long time, which is where I was when I was looking at the program, to do it. That's really my biggest piece of advice. If you've been thinking about it for a long time, do it. This program is incredible in terms of giving you flexibility. If you're concerned about balancing work and family and school, this has just been amazing in terms of being able to have the ability to be flexible and to work it around what you need to work it around, pace it, how you need to pace it. So if that's one of your concerns that's holding you back, this is a program that's going to really allow you to find that
Great point. I'm going to share this last slide in case anybody has any questions or you'd like to reach out to us. There's our phone number as well as our email that you can go ahead and email us anytime. We have a full team that's always responding to the many emails that we get. My email is ked@illinois.edu, so you're welcome to email myself. But we hope that you enjoyed the presentation today, and we tried to cover as many different aspects of the program that we could, but there's so many more. So please reach out with any additional questions. I did want to say thank you so much. Janine has been such an incredible ambassador to the iMBA program and to us. I mean, she's been so helpful. So thank you so much for being here today, Janine. Your insights and your experience was just excellent. And Allison, thank you so much for doing the Q&A. You're so quick to respond, and you're great there. And so thank you for answering all those questions. With that, I hope everyone has a great rest of your night or morning or afternoon, wherever you're located. Thank you so much for being here, and hopefully we'll meet you soon. Have a good night.